Today's meeting is dedicated to the one God, and it's also dedicated for you as a soul to open that love of your soul and devote to God, the absolute, the one source, the formless God, also known as Nirguna Bhakti. How the selflessness can devote to the absolute God through every action, every motion, every moment of your soul's life experience. Even here on this earth, in the midst of all dualities, in the midst of all separations and suffering, you as a soul can selflessly consecrate your whole life experience and offer all the fruits of your actions to God. And have only one focus, only one attention, only one remembrance. And surely all your suffering will dissolve. And surely all entanglements of limited identities and illusions will dissolve, all into the love of God. So the intention when practicing bhakti is to devote oneself to the divine in everything that you do. Whether you are producing music, whether you are cooking the best meal, whether you're doing your mundane chores, you devote oneself to the divine, absolute God in everything. Thus, that allows you to see God in everything, allows you to remember the presence of God everywhere you go, because your body is your ashram. It is your sacred temple. It is where the presence of God resides. It is where you meet with the beloved. It is where even the mundane and material becomes sacred. Because in God it's all inclusive. And here is where, when one recognizes how profound of a practice to live in devotion to God at all times, to the formless source. Here is where God grants His grace upon you. He bestows the treasure of devotion. And you can blend and merge back into thyself, into the source, into the beloved God. So in the true devotion, the mind is dyed like painted and immersed in the deepest depths and vast eternal ocean of His love. And that is how the mind becomes purified. This is how the mind becomes peaceful. When we recognize the divine light and sound stream as the voice of God, as the word of God, we can attune, we can remember, and as we live by that divine light and sound stream, it's living in surrender and in reverence to the grace of the God divine showering you, holding you, encompassing you with great pure love. So when the mind recognizes and attunes to this devotional stream and worship, one finds the true word, the true light of God, because the divine light and sound stream is emanating from God. It supports you as a soul to return back home. And along the way of returning to your true home is the way, the practice, the path of the ever allowing, ever surrendering the personal will and personal ways, until one becomes absolutely selfless. So selflessness brings you, returns you back to your true home. The opposite of selflessness is self-centeredness. And this is also experienced in many spiritual people. There can still be an element of self-centeredness there. There can still be an element of having the idea that by opening up to the full consciousness, one may believe that one will attain something or become something. But this is far from the truth. Because on your way, on your path, in devotion, in reverence to the source, God divine, it's the other way round. You start to become more comfortable in losing aspects of yourself, in losing your identities, in losing your sufferings, the one that you treasure so closely and give such importance of how things have molded and turned out in your life. The duality of that, one may absolutely resist and hate the past, but yet one treasures it as one carries it and identifies with it. There's a certain investment, there's a certain importance to my past, myself, and thus even that can be given, even that can be allowed to absolutely be, make absolute peace with your past identities, your past experiences. And one way to do that is to become selfless. Is to go beyond the self-centeredness. Because one may build up this momentum of becoming someone better than another, reaching higher consciousness, or this person is better than that person. So many influences of mind and personal ways, still so infused and holding its position of the separated self. But when we practice selflessness, and especially practicing devotion, giving your love, to the formless, surrendering those aspects that stand in your way, the personal ways, the personal suffering. And maybe God is unknown to you. That is okay. You can surrender to the unknown. If things are not fully well understood, it's okay. We don't need to know everything. But can you trust that? Can you trust the unknown? Can you become comfortable with not knowing? Can you be absolutely okay with where you are now? Because the love of God and the presence of God is almighty.